thanks for tuning in. Okay, so today we are going to be discussing and drawing a character from the well-known team, the X-Men. Now, I imagine some of you may not be fully familiar with who the X-Men are, so I'll enlighten you briefly. They are what's known as mutants, a team of mutants with special powers. Hold on. With special powers. Superpowers, one might say. I think that, unfortunately, not all the time, the powers are very fancy. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're really not, and that's unfortunate. I used to wish I would wake up with mutant powers when I was a teenager. It never happened, but the hope was alive. The hope was alive. Anyway, so we're going to be focusing on one member of the X-Men today, and that member is Rogue. Rogue was one of the females of the X-Men. X-Women, I don't know. And she was my favourite character. I am referring specifically to the 90s cartoon. There is and was a very popular comic book, well, several actually, based around the world of the X-Men, but I am focusing specifically on the 90s cartoon, not the movies, where Rogue was played by Anna Paquin, who arguably had a much better time in the series True Blood, because her Rogue portrayal, not her fault, was pants. Okay, anyway, so Rogue had an interesting set of powers. I promise I'll start drawing soon. Rogue had an interesting set of powers. Firstly, she had the, some might say, troublesome ability of being able to touch other people. This wasn't really a choice. Being able to touch other people, well, mutants and, well, people, and absorb their memories, personality traits. If it was a mutant, then she could absorb their powers as well, which obviously had its uses. However, she couldn't control this ability, so it was pretty much no touchy rule, which must have just been absolutely crap if you're trying to, get a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. Just shit. I mean, pardon my French, you can't even pet a dog or a cat. That's just no way to live. So poor Rogue. Anyway, so at one point she managed to absorb the powers of another mutant called, I think, Ms. Marvel, who was super strong and could fly. And Rogue held on for such a long time that she permanently absorbed, well, permanently, I don't know, in the comic books maybe it wasn't permanent, but in the cartoon she permanently absorbed Ms. Marvel's powers and sent her into a coma, which isn't so great. Well, not for Ms. Marvel. And I think Rogue felt a bit guilty too, because inherently she was a nice person. Lovely southern belle, salt of the earth. I could try and think of a couple of lines from the cartoon and do an impression, but maybe I'll just let that come to me as I start drawing, because, it's not coming now. Anyway, right. I'll start drawing, and hopefully this looks a bit like Rogue. I'm doing it from memory, because it's just more fun that way, and it might come out similar, it might not, but was a Caucasian lass with rather a bodacious figure and the wildest, craziest hair you can imagine. Well, it depends on your imagination, I suppose. So I'll just start here. We've got her jawline here, and some hair. Now the reason why I'm skirting around the fringe area of the hair is because she had a bandana, which I shall now action, for lack of a better term. Pop, 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 pop. And the base of the bandana. See, that's what makes Rogue so cool. Only cool people can get away with things like a bandana. You know, it was the 90s. But get away with a bandana and still look cool and iconic, one might say. You know, it saddened me greatly when the movie came out, X-Men. I can't remember what year it came out, maybe 2000. But it saddened me a lot, the portrayal of Rogue, because she was, as I said, my absolute favourite character. And I really wanted to see a fully realised Rogue portrayal, flying around, sassy southern charm. I say southern charm, I don't mean the south of England, I mean the south of the United States. You know, like, oh, howdy y'all, oh, you varmin, darling, doogity-doo. You know, I can't think of anything authentic to say. So hopefully varmin, darling, doogity-doo is representative of the south of the United States. I'm sure somebody will have something to say about that. But yeah, the south of England wouldn't exactly sound the same. And my geography's awful. So my representation of the south of England is probably garbage as well. But we're not here to do geography, are we? No, sorry, Bob. So I'll just draw her lips here. I tend to shy away from, I used to spend a lot of time making sure the eyes were perfect and blah blah blah. But in recent times, I've just favoured being a bit wish-wash with the eyes. I haven't exactly drawn proper eyes here. I've just kind of done a series of lines, and then added some little eyelashes, and I've obviously added some eyebrows here. Now, what I found in recent times is, I thought, obviously people say the eyes are the windows to the soul, but I have found that actually you can get away with being a bit slapdash with the eyes, and it still reads properly. Take, for instance, Adventure Time, where a vast majority, actually is a majority, I'm not even sure, but a vast number of the characters have dots of eyes, and somehow it still reads, like the emotion is still there, it still registers as a character, which is fab. And anyway, so I tend to worry a bit less nowadays about the eyes. I think, probably like a lot of enthusiastic young artists, when I discovered anime and manga, I was incredibly drawn, first pun of the video, I was very drawn to the large eyes that were everywhere. Sorry, I just had to blow some detritus off the paper. Anyway, so yeah, I loved the large eyes, and loved the detail that was kind of put into them generally, like big iris. Is the iris the coloured part? We're gonna say it is, I'm probably wrong. And not that I mind about proportions. In fact, as I go on, it will become evident my proportion, my eye for proportion is completely off. And that's off. I'm not sure if it's a choice or if it's just gradually gone that way, but I think my interpretation of correct proportions is now way off. Not that I'm mad about that, because who cares, right? Who gives a flying ferruginous duck? That's a real duck, by the way. I think as well, I got very into, there's an anime and manga called Bleach. Some of you may have heard of it. But a lot of the characters, I was watching it thinking, oh, everyone looks perfectly normal. These characters are very interesting, and they are. But the proportions are a little off. But somehow it works, and I didn't even really realise this until when I was at university. One of my fellow students said to me, I said, oh yeah, I like Bleach, I'm reading Bleach, blah blah blah, and he said, oh yeah, is that manga with all of their long bodies and small heads? And I was like, what? You World of Warcraft loving monster. But actually, I can totally see his point, and they do rather have long bodies and small heads. But what happened, it permeated into the way I draw, and over time I have become a real sucker for drawing characters with long bodies and small heads, which is ironic because I had a massive thing about thinking I had a tiny head through most of my adolescence and 20s. And you know what, I may actually have a small head, but I'm less bothered about it now, which I think is just marvellous. Because it's just a waste of time feeling self-conscious about everything. Okay. We're taking some artistic liberty with the jacket. Do a little buttonhole here. So as you can see, you can kind of see, when I finish this I'll scan it, but at the end of the video. So we've got Rogue in a nice jacket here, with a fur collar, fur little sleeves, fur trim sleeves, and now I will just add the peekaboo of the X-Men logo just under there. It will feature in other parts of the ensemble as we go on, but right now it's just poking it, and as we can see, she is clenching rather a limp fist. I haven't done a very good job of that. She's not exactly looking like the strongest woman in the world. I can imagine somebody on a... Oh, that was my foot, in case the microphone picked that up. It was my foot. Yeah, I can imagine some kind of superhero photo shoot on America's Next Top Model or something, and somebody clenching this fist and Tyra saying, oh, it's a bit limp. Luckily she's not here judging me today, and I don't even think America's Next Top Model's really happening anymore. Of course, it could be wrong. Not that that happens very often. Anyway, okay, let's move down to arm number 2. Arm number 2, come on down. So we'll get the old furry sleeve, very trim, going on. I don't know what this pose is turning into. It literally looks like she's displaying prizes on a game show. Oh well. Little button. Silly detail. Oh well. Let's do the other X poking through here. I can't remember where they were positioned on her jacket originally. Let's give her one on the sleeve as well, just to really hammer that X-Men point home. In case it's not obvious who she's supposed to be. Does anyone remember the theme tune? What a theme tune is all I'll say. It went now, actually, I've tried whisper singing before and it goes badly and you can't hear the notes or I'm tone deaf, but the song went something along the lines of this. Lucky listener. Damn lucky listener you are. Okay, this hand, what are we going to do? I think we'll just do a standard open hand. This can be the hand that is ready to touch and absorb. That's actually a rather good justification for a clenched fist and an open hand. Strong, punchy fist. Open, absorby hand. Oh, God damn it, I'm a genius. Okay, and we'll just do a hint of chest. She had a very voluptuous figure on the cartoon. In the cartoon, not exactly an achievable standard for your everyday person, but of course it was a cartoon and she was technically a superhero. Of course every woman had the same figure on that show, and of course every man had the same figure on that show. Bulging biceps and six packs. Even Beast had a six pack. Even Magneto was like, well, I mean, he was played by Ian McKellen in the movie, so we can assume he wasn't a spring chicken. But wow. Okay, now we're going to go a bit OTT with the hair, because we are not fooling around, and neither was Rogue. I think probably hair was a little on the tame side compared to this, even in the cartoon, especially in the movie. My goodness me. That silly little streak of white hair they gave Anna Paquin really bugged me. Just not befitting of Rogue's powerhouse of a character. Now it looks like she's combing her own hair, or she's got a fist stuck in her hair, which is just perfect. Really the master stroke I was going for. And I'm not much of one for rubbing things out, so we'll live with the mistake. Now it's actually a handy tip, which if there's any budding artists out there, or illustrators or whatever, anybody who gets a bit downhearted and a bit sort of like, oh God, I'm really sick of my style, it's really getting old, I don't know what to do, I've got artist block, everything's going badly, wow, I've been there, trust me. I had this really wonderful tutor at university, and he suggested to me that I try a different medium. I was very much a propeller pencil on A4 paper, so different to what I'm doing right now, kind of person. And he suggested that I just change mediums, or just try something new. So, me being the wild child that I am, I got a sketchbook instead. gel point pens, and I just started drawing with that, and the point of it was to make it so I was not allowed to rub out my mistakes. I had to live with them and try and make the picture work anyway, which was a really important lesson, I think, for me to learn, and it did change the way I saw things and worked. So I would highly recommend, not that you go out and buy a sketchbook and a gel pen, but your version of a sketchbook and a gel pen, just change it up. It can really freshen up your approach, and coming back to just working with a pencil and A4 paper like this, everything I did in between informed the way I approach things now. So it was like a good little creative holiday. Well, that sounds a bit cheesy, creative holiday. It wasn't a holiday at all, but it made me feel good. So, anyway, okay, so here we are. We've got the hair now. How this looks, let me see if I can show you. Have a bit of paper sound as we go. Oh, howdy, y'all. My name's Rogue. Sugar. Oh, yeah, she used to say sugar. Oh, sugar. Oh, honey. I can't think of anything else she used to say. She probably said some kind of nice things to Gambit. That was kind of like her boyfriend. On-off boyfriend. Will they, won't they? Well, they won't, because she'll kill him if they do. Okay. So now we need to move on to the legs. And of course she had legs for days. I'm going to be a bit more aggressive with this part. When I say aggressive, I mean quick, because I want to just make a decision. Her legs are going to be far too long and not make much sense, biologically speaking. But I don't care. And is she going to be flying? Or we could have her standing on something. Maybe I'll have her standing on something. These legs are insanely long. But who cares? It's not real. We can just have fun. And I've got one leg about several inches thicker than the other, so here comes that comment about living with your mistakes to bite me in the butt. But we're going to work around it. It's going to be fine. All I've done is just thicken out this area. And then with colouring, etc., that can be sorted out. No problemo. I think we'll do colouring in a separate vid. So we'll give her some impractical high heels because where would be the fun if she had to go around in sensible flats? Not very aspirational, is it? Of course, I'm being full of BS. I support anyone's right to wear any shoe they wish. But Rogue, she's not going to be wearing sensible shoes. It's not a crazy stiletto. But we won't be too mad about it. I don't think she'd be too mad. She doesn't care. She can just fly everywhere anyway. Okay, that looks dumb. Okay. So I think we've got basically the legs how we want them. So now the details are might say Wolverine was the coolest member, but they obviously never watched the 90s cartoon because he was annoying. Constantly going, "Wow, Jean, oh, shut up." I get that he had an interesting story. Okay, fine. But Rogues was more interesting. IMO. Okay, so we're going to add some pockets on the way. Because, well, who knows what she's keeping in her pockets. A woman never tells. But really, I think she did have pockets on her original costume. Or did I make that up? Oh, I don't know. But if she did, then what on earth would she have kept in them? She's not Batman. What does she need? Okay. So, just making the lines a bit stronger here. That's just me itching my moustache area. I'm freshly shaven, so it's not very gritty sounding, and plus, well, I can't really grow much hair anyway. Okay, so we've got our jacket here. Just add in some little details, little shading details. I can't remember, I watched some anime or something, and all these little bits were on some kind of... It's a technique you see sometimes here and there, and it just stuck with me, and I ended up doing it for most of my drawings. Anyway, so costume, like the underneath leotard, is that what you call it, a leotard? I don't know, but this tight spandex number underneath was two-tone. These areas were green, and then it had this sort of stripe down the middle, which I think kind of went in like that, and maybe had a bit of a black stripe. It was so hard to tell because there was a lot of like black reflection in the original cartoon, which made it difficult to tell what was kind of stylistic shadow and what was actually part of the costume. But we're going to imagine that that was part of the costume. Let's just give her some crazy muscles or toning. Angle here. Now I'm just going to bring in the rubber just to neaten up these areas here. So we've got this original part of the leg showing through the boot, which we don't want anymore. I'll have to tidy this up again, but that's fine because I know where I'm working from. The artist's mind never forgets, he says. Okay, let's bring that down. And this one. Okay, so I'm reasonably happy now with where we're at. Just add in a few little extra lines here to show off where her impossibly low knee would be on her impossibly long legs. Add in a few little shady bits underneath her feet, just to represent the ground on which she stands. On which she stands. unknown to man. I have the hands of somebody much older than me. It shows my wisdom. My years are represented on my hands. Oh, the stories these hands can tell. Anyway, okay, so that'll wrap up today, and then next time I will colour in our rogue here, and get it inked in, and perhaps in the meantime I'll think about some kind of background I could go with this. But yeah, so thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a really lovely day or night or evening or whatever. Birthday, you just never know. If it is your birthday out there, and I know someone's whose it is,